Ladies and gentlemen, the red Zerg player in the bottom left, here on Atlantis Spaceship from Team Liquid, it is Rhett. He's facing off against his opponent in the top portion of the map from Incredible Miracle. He is blue, he is Protoss, and it is first. They seem to really want him to die at the hands of a Zerg here, Kevin.
Yeah, and Atlantis Spaceship's a good map to try and make that happen on. It's very large, as you mentioned before. There are a ton of attack paths that you can actually use completely unopposed. So if any map will throw off a Protoss player who's been playing a little bit longer games, this is certainly the one to try it. And Rhett is, of course, kind of the ultimate expression of droning and economy, as you know, everyone is well aware of.
So, you know, this is the Team League. It's not a situation where you get a week to prepare against the person that you're going to be playing against. So first has got to go by the stereotypes right now. And the stereotypes are against Rhett. You have to keep him honest. And you may even find openings where you could punish him, because Rhett is known to overdrone. But in that same regard, he can be very, very scary in the late game if you let him get away with all that droning. So I definitely expect first to try to lay on some pressure here, because, you know, hasn't had, you know, a week here to prepare for this match against Rhett or anything. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going against Rhett. What do I know about Rhett? Well, he drones a lot. He has a great late game. Let's put some pressure on him.
Yeah, I mean, and even though this is a very large map, it is still possible to do something like a big Immortal Sentry all-in. Looks like we're going to head towards a Nexus first, though, from first. He's already saving up to 17 workers, and there we go. It's going to throw that down here in just a second. The probe is across the map, though, so it can at least deny or try to deny a hatchery for a while, but Rhett doesn't want anything to do with those sort of shenanigans and moves his hatchery over to the third right away.
And he does. It's Atlantis Spaceship. That ramp is a little bit further up. Ford's going to be following up here for first very, very quickly. Has stopped drone production. We'll be able to throw down a quick gateway behind this as well. And not just start working on that wall off, but also start working towards that faster cyber core tech and things of that nature. Second pylon actually going to go down. So it looks like really wants to invest in the economy here. You know, there's a lot of different routes you can take. It's so interesting, actually, like how many different ways you can actually start your builds as Protoss, especially when you start factoring in things like Chrono Boost, for instance. You know, the 17 Nexus as opposed to a 16, but looks like, yeah, he's going to be focusing a lot on eco.
And on this map especially, because the walk distance is so long that even though this photon cannon came up basically as late as a photon cannon can possibly come up in some sort of a Nexus first Forge Fast Expands, it's still going to be finished pretty quickly here. It's got less than 20 seconds. These Zerglings are still a pretty darn long way away.
Yeah, the probe is going to manage to get a peek of them, it looks like, turn around. And the cannon is not done yet, so he doesn't have enough money for a gateway.
There it is.
And Rhett is going to turn around at the last second.
Perfectly timed, and the cannon finishes up right in time. First does know that this hatchery is finished up. He had hidden a probe there, just making sure that this natural would get placed down. This isn't some sort of a turn of events, a big two-base all-in from Rhett.
All right. So is opening with a Zealot first. Going to be getting a couple of units on the field. Definitely possible. He could go out to pressure them. And it doesn't look like Rhett doesn't seem the type to go for a big slowing all in, honestly, just with how much he enjoys his macro style of play. So first, maybe comfortable here pressuring with a few units, which, I mean, really, it's only well countered by, you know, a lot of lings very early.
Right. And, yeah, I mean, we'll see here how quickly Rhett wants to actually start throwing down that gas. You know, most Zerg players are throwing it at the 42 supply mark, and we'll see if Rhett decides to significantly switch things up. I've seen him put down gas considerably later, but, of course, that was a while ago, and he may have fallen into a little bit more conventional play since then. Stargate now dropping for first. He's not added on his third and fourth gas quite yet, so, you know, it's a good way to hide this at least for a little while. And looks like gas does drop down for Rhett right at around the 43 supply mark. So nothing out of the ordinary at all for a Zerg player.
Oh, this is pretty cute. First is heading out across the map with the Zealot and the Stalker. Another Stalker to back this up so you can continue the pressure. And the goal here is, if you can, snipe a Queen. If you can, force some Lings. These are going to be less drones, less economy, so that when Rhett has to build the Spore Crawlers to deal with the Stargate play, you know, the Phoenix and units like that, it's going to be all the more difficult for him. So Stalker coming in right now, going to get a couple of free shots off on an Overlord. Anything here that costs minerals is great for first, because it's going to make it that much tougher to get Queens and Spores to deal with the Stargate play follow-up.
6 Zerglings equals 3 drones that aren't made right now, and it doesn't look like this Zealot is going to kill too much. Manages to snag one drone there, but not the worst result in the world for Rhett. So not too much damage done. Looks like the Stalkers are going to redouble back and try and pick off a couple more units, but already Zerglings are meeting them in the middle of the map.
Yeah, but there is no speed here, so eventually they will be able to pick all these off with minimal, if any, damage actually dealt to the Stalkers. It's actually chasing them much further than I would have expected. At this point, you can actually engage these straight up, and he's going to actually just continue cutting them. So first is 59 supplies, 69, working on... I mean, he's got a lot of Stalkers out. I think he has another one at home even, and is now making a sentry.
Yeah, let's see here. As 2 Phoenixes are already finished up. Yeah, Stalker was over at the top. 3rd is on the way. Stalkers are poking back in, trying to do a little damage to this Queen. But, you know, they are all eventually going to be driven away. It's annoying. Rhett has to deal with this, but they haven't done any significant damage. They haven't really picked off anything of consequence yet.
Now, first did grab his 3rd and 4th gas, but no robotics quite yet. Oh, it is just going down right now, in fact. What are your thoughts of Immortal Sentry All-In on this map? You know, you mentioned it earlier,
you mean
but
like the variety we saw at IPL 5, which
Creator
was the Stargate into Immortal Sentry All-In.
Yeah,
it's possible. I think on this map I'd still like to see a 3rd base though from first. I think it gives them a lot more options. Late game, yes, Zergs do get scary on the open ground, but I think if he inflicts damage right now, then I think he should sit back and go for the 3rd base. If he doesn't get too much done, it may be time to throw out a few Immortals and try and pressure.
Oh, the Sport Crawler does finish. That's a nice small victory for first. Will he pull away with this Phoenix? Nice micro. Now he's going to be able to lift it up a second time and pick off that Queen as well.
Good job. All right, so the Phoenix actually gets away with just 8 hit points, and it's going to be back here to do some damage to these Overlords. 2 Overlords falling. Almost supply blocks Rhett, who now has to drop down a couple of emergency Overlords here in just a moment. And the damage that I was talking about is actually being done here. And since that's the case, I think that first could turn around and go for a 3rd base, which is what he's doing.
All right, moving out for that just right now. 5 Phoenix on the field. Has stopped Phoenix production at home. And actually, I think he has Void Ray crossing the map. No, the dot's pretty small. It's an observer. Oh, that is a Void Ray. Why is that so? Atlanta Spaceship is such a big map, Kev.
All the dots are small. He's doing a nice job of picking off these roaches one by one, and this significantly weakens this attack. This is the 4th roach to be picked up and killed. And that takes a lot of the firepower out of this, out of any sort of pressure that can be done, and first is going to be able to hold that easily.
Yeah, I mean, Rhett can't make a lot of units because the Queens were dead. Has gotten them back onto the field now, but Pathogen Glands is far enough along that he can actually make some infestors. Unfortunately, Rhett doesn't have any gas to spare. He's making a lot of roaches and lings right now, actually, and working on those melee upgrades. And the Void Ray Observer combo strikes again here. Yeah, for first.
A lot of creep tumors getting killed, and this is going to limit Rhett's mobility. This is going to limit the amount of presence he has on the map. Pretty much everything is being threatened for Rhett. Look at his creep spread right now. It connects his main to his natural, and that's it. All the other creep tumors, I don't think that there's a single active creep tumor on the entire map right now for Rhett.
Yeah, there's really not much going on for him. As I said, man, I'm a huge fan of that. And the first time I ever saw it, it was grubby at, oh goodness, was it Columbus? I don't know, it was a long time ago, but I loved it. I freaked out. I had a little hand flappy thing going on. I was just like, oh my god, this is awesome. But it really, first using it to great effect right now.
Yeah, and he's continued to pick off Overlords. This little Stargate combo has been devastating. And this Void Ray will be able to clean up this Zelnaga Tower if he so desires. Looks like Rhett did spot that, though, and he'll be able to run away just in a minute. Rhett's, getting ready for an attack over on the right-hand side, but, we'll observe that in a second. Not too much else going on inside of his main, and he's not really going to be able to pressure this all that much. That there's a lot of firepower that's still here for first. He's got photon cannons in nice defensive positions. And even though he may have to cancel a couple of gateways here, it's not the worst deal in the world. Loses a gateway, though. That's 150 resources immediately lost.
Yeah, but Rhett doesn't have enough to break this, not by any stretch of the imagination. And now he's going to be falling back. Phoenix continuing to patrol. There are infestors guarding these queens, so they will make sure they live to see the light of another day.
Rhett's taking a 4th base now,
not.
but
It's always dark on Atlanta Spaceship.
Rhett's taking another base right now, but things are getting pretty dire for him. His opponent's on 9 gateways, actually going to be going up to a 10th here, looks like in just a second. And did I say 10? I meant 12.
Wow.
Yeah. And with the Stargate done, he can easily go up to Fleet Beacon. We could see a transition over to Templar now, too. And we're almost seeing a repeat of what happened on Entomb Valley. First is just really, really stretching his advantage well.
Lots of gateways. I want to see if he's going to go for another fast fourth base. He has a cut probe production, does not have any of them. So this is either a really, really big all-in right now, or a really, really big all-in right now. Because he's not making any more probes.
No, he's not, but I mean, 67 workers with the tech that he has in place is enough that he can fall back on and still have some recovery options. I mean, it's not as good as if he had just taken a fourth base right now and built up to like 75 workers, no, but that's it's certainly still enough to get to be able to recover after damage is done.
No, really, I'm just having fun with the statement because, you know, Protoss, you can make too many production structures and actually have them still be of use. They're the only race that can really do that. Say you are on the aggressive, you warp in your 12 warp gates, and all of a sudden 7 roaches harass at your third. Well, you can actually, because you have an extra quantity of warp gates, you can actually just make 4 units in between warp-in cycles, say.
Right.
It's because you couldn't use all your gateways, so... Yeah, there is versatility and that it allows.
It's so nice as a Protoss player whenever you're just sitting there and you're like, oh, I guess I've built up 1,500, 1,000. Well, here's 10 Stalkers, you know, just all at the same time. So
12 the first.
Yes. Or 12 in this circumstance.
A lot of dead lings, and did they even cut through anything shield there?
No, I don't think so. The link count was extraordinarily high, and Rhett needed to free up supply for continued production in other areas. Now, right now, Rhett needs to make a big round of drones, which he is, and saturate these gases and build a big Spinecrawler defense. But the problem is the Creep Spirit's not really there to put these Spinecrawlers in any sort of a position that would actually affect things.
Yeah.
And First is making his way out with a massive push that we were talking about before.
That's actually a great point to make, Kevin. Guys, you know, when you go for Broodlords, you want to have these Spinecrawlers that are going to buy you time and make it more difficult for your opponent to push. But here, look at this. Spinecrawlers on the right. There's no Spinecrawlers on the left, Kevin. Focal Growth's going down, capturing a lot of the Stalkers. Infested Terran's going to be going down, seeing if they can get any damage in. If they even get a chance to hatch, a couple of them do, but Force Field's going to go down and stop the Infestors from being able to get far enough forward to Corruptors. Doing good damage to these Colossi right now.
Yeah, and actually the Colossi are all going to fall. There's just one more here. The Blink Stalkers are actually going relatively unopposed at the moment. 68 Lings are on the way, and all the splash damage is now down, which is why the Lings are going to be that much more effective. But the Spinecrawlers, you know, they came up so late. They weren't really in a position to be able to delay for all that long. With 86 Lings, this is going to present a problem to First, though. He has to be able to take these out piecemeal, and it looks like he is doing so. Let's actually take a look at the overall unit count. There's 61 Lings left on the map. They're actually going to catch up to a large portion of these forces, but then they start encountering Archons and Zealots off the left-hand side, and that is the ultimate Zerg killing force. There's GG. First takes his 3rd game in a row.
First absolutely tearing it up right now, and we haven't even seen his PvP come out yet, which is phenomenal, might I say. Cast a series of him versus Daisy, and it's time for PvP.
Yeah, we're gonna have Liquid Hero as the next player coming in for Team Liquid. He's an exceptionally good Protoss player, of course, and we'll see if he has what it takes to knock down First.
It's definitely going to be a challenge. Guys, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. The score is currently 3-1.